going on, guys? Welcome back to Visionation. On today's video we'll be discussing what is confidence, or more specifically self-confidence. So the definition of self-confidence itself is the belief in one's abilities, qualities and judgment. So confidence is not a feeling, because confidence is based on your competency. It's also not a personality trait, because you can be an introvert or an extrovert and you can either be confident or not confident. Many people assume if you're extroverted, you like going out, you like being sociable, that you're a confident person, and the introverted person who maybe keeps themselves to themselves, is a bit more reserved and doesn't talk as much, is not confident. That's not always the case, because you can be introverted and still be confident, and a lot of people who are extroverted and seem that they're confident are not actually confident in themselves. They're just that they're extrovert and they're very sociable. So it's not a personality trait, it's something that you can grow on over time in your ability, and you can increase your confidence through your competency. It's also not actually a belief in your abilities, because you can be confident that you're bad at something, or you can be confident that you're good at something. So being confident that you're bad at something is not essentially good, because it's limiting you, because if you're so confident that you're terrible at speaking, then you want to do speaking. You're so confident that you're not good at it, but you might actually be good at it. It's just that your belief system is that, oh yeah, I'm not good at it. It's not actually a belief in your abilities, it's more that it comes from your competency. So it's also not self-esteem, because that's giving yourself self-validation. It's all good, having good self-esteem because you're believing in yourself, you're believing in your actual abilities, but it's more like self-judgment, because having good self-esteem and self-validating yourself is actually not going to give you real confidence, because to be confident you need to be doing things that you're uncomfortable with, getting out of your comfort zone, to learn and grow. Then comes the real confidence. But self-validating yourself, it's always been a thing, to build your self-esteem, and there's people out there that always talk about self-esteem and feeling good about yourself, but that just keeps you in your comfort zone, because you're going to be so confident in your current self that you're never going to be willing to grow or willing to learn. So real confidence comes from being uncomfortable and being in situations that you don't want to be in, or learning things that you don't feel confident at the moment, but learning through those failures and growing is what's going to get you the real confidence. Because seeking self-esteem and self-validation is seeking feeling good about yourself essentially, and feeling good about yourself all the time is not the best idea, because like I said, you want to be a bit uncomfortable, you want to grow through those things, because you don't grow when you're in your comfort zone, and you don't grow when you're just feeling good about yourself all the time. You need to be feeling that these are the things I want to do and these are the things I want to work on, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to learn along the way, even if I'm not good at it right now. But learning through experience will give me knowledge, and in turn having that knowledge and competency is what gives you the confidence. Also, seeking feeling good can hold you back in other ways, because it might make you a bit more on a competitive edge. Not that it's wrong to be competitive, it's very good to have a competitive edge, because it betters yourself, but you can get to the point where you're always seeking to feel good about yourself, that you are always competing with others, having a bit of arrogance about you, and obviously that's not a good trait to have. And another way to self-validate yourself will be lowering your standards. If you're not to the level that you want, just to make yourself feel better, you'll lower your standards, and in that situation you'll always lose, because you're doing yourself a disservice by lowering your standards. If you lower your standards, you're going to feel good about yourself, but it's not going to last, or it's not going to better you, because you've essentially gone back in your shell and gone lower. Instead of putting yourself out there and growing and being uncomfortable, you've just gone in a feeling of comfort or a feeling of a safe place just to make yourself feel better, and that's not going to actually give you any growth, and you're not going to grow as a person. So that will stem from your ego being too big, because your self-esteem is going to be based on your looks, your money, your success, your fame, how smart you are. Because when you're based on these monetary things or superficial things like looks, your looks will fade, and your self-esteem will just dwindle, or your money or your fame or your success can go in an instant. Like, it can go just like that, and then your self-esteem will just drop to nothing. Rather, you should base your self-esteem on the willingness to learn, the willingness to grow, the willingness to fail and come back, and being relentless, being disciplined. These are the things that you build around, and that can never be taken away from you, because even if you lose your looks, you lose your fame, you lose your money, you lose your success, you'll still have these core values about yourself, being relentless and being able to grow. So even if you lose all that, you still like that, you've still got these things, so you're still going to be growing and being better, and taking these things as a positive rather than negative, and taking it on the chin and learning from it and growing as a person and being better than you was before. So if you're willing to grow, you're willing to learn, you're willing to change, then you're always going to grow as a person, and your self-belief and self-esteem is no longer going to be vulnerable to any external factors. You'll always have that in you, and no matter what is thrown at you, you're always going to be able to overcome it, because you've got these main things. So confidence is a skill. It's like a muscle. It's a muscle that you can train, you can grow, and you can flex. So it comes from from being outside your comfort zone, like I mentioned before, being uncomfortable and growing as a person. That's what's going to increase your confidence. So confidence is a skill. It's like a muscle that you can train over time, that you can grow and that you can flex. Essentially, you learn the confidence through your competency, like I said before, and it's your willingness to act, or willingness to try, and willingness to act without a fear of your failing and without fear of uncertainty, because that uncertainty is always going to be there, that failure is always going to be there, that fear of that is always going to be there. Being confident does not mean that you're not going to fear failure or you're not going to feel these things. You're still going to have that kind of uncertainty or anxiety, whatever it is, but you're still confident in yourself, in your competency, that you'll be able to overcome these things, and the fact that you try and you act, you're still gonna either succeed or you're gonna learn something. So it's the confidence and competency loop. Like, so when you try, you're gonna either succeed or you're gonna learn, and then when you learn, you're gonna build skills, and then from the building skills you get the competency, and then from the competency you get the confidence. So it's the loop that starts from just trying. So when you try, you're either gonna fail or you're gonna succeed. Once you fail, you learn and you build, and then you try again. Or when you succeed, you take it to the next step and you try the next thing. You keep trying. It's the loop of keeping trying and keeping acting on something. Then you build your skills, you build your competency, and then in turn you build your confidence. It's a constant loop, and you keep growing and changing. And that's with any goal in your life. You will always have that. You can always have any goal in your life, and if you follow these steps, if you try, you'll learn something, you'll succeed, you will build skills, you will learn a new skill set, you will build competency, and you will build confidence in turn. And if you keep doing those things, any goal that you set in your life, you can always achieve better. So all those things come from trying and failing. So we always view failure as wrong. It's really actually something positive, because from every failure you always learn something. And when you learn something, you can take that on board, and then you can take it on the next step, and you try again and you fail again, and that teaches you more than actually succeeding and actually winning. Because most people take failure as defining themselves, like, oh, I failed, so I'm a failure. But it doesn't define who you are, it just defines that situation. And in that situation you failed and you go again, because people think that, oh, I'm not good enough and I'm not competent enough to do this. But the failure is what gets you out of your comfort zone. It gets you, willing to learn something, and that's how you grow as a person. Because if you was always succeeding, if you're always winning, then you won't ever learn anything. And the only way you fail is by trying new things. If you've never tried anything in your life, you've never failed. It's part of the growth process, and the more you fail, the more you'll learn. Because you should always do something that you're afraid of, that you're a little bit fearful of, and then because when you overcome that feeling of satisfaction, and learning is always second to none, and you will always feel better after you've overcome that thing. Or even if you failed, you'll go back again and try. But this is not to say that if you keep failing and doing the same thing over and over again, that you should carry on doing it, because when you fail once, you'll learn something, and then you'll take that approach and you'll take that into the next time you try the same thing again or something similar. And that will, from your past experience of failing, you'll know, like, okay, I've done this wrong, maybe I should do it this way. But doing something the same thing over and over again and knowing it's going to fail is just, not very smart. So you need to actually take that on board with you and try something different each time you're failing. And growing as a person and learning different things, you need to keep trying and going through that, rather than just repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting different results if you're not changing anything about it. Because you should always see failure as an opportunity. You should always see it as a thing like, what did I learn from this? You should always learn something from failures. So you always must think every time you fail in life, you're going to learn something. And if you look back through your life, you're watching this video, if you look back through your life and think most of your things that you've learned have probably come through failures rather than your wins. So the failures is what you get through to get through to the wins. That's what confidence is. Confidence comes from the failures, comes from being competent at something. That gives you the confidence. But in order to gain the confidence, you have to try, you have to act, and you have to be willing to fail, willing to sacrifice, and in turn learning new skills, building skills, and not self-validating yourself on every little thing, and not building your belief system around your current skills, and self-validating yourself, or even lowering your standards, or building your self-esteem around superficial things. Rather, being willing to be coachable, willing to learn, willing to change. That's what you need to build yourself around, so you can better yourself and better those people around you, and in turn increase your confidence, your competence, and overall just keep growing as a person. So thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and leave a comment below if you have experienced failure in your life, or experienced a lack of confidence that you had and overcame it through your competency or learning new things. I'd love to hear your stories, so please let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss an episode ever. If you're listening on Spotify, please give us a 5-star review, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.